gone. Those pilings, there's a walkway all the way out to the boathouse.
From docks to homes and everything in between.
This is our cook shed we just completed.
Storm surge from Hurricane Sally flooded much of the Hearst Hammock community.
And now it's total destruction, which we'll have to rebuild and repair.
Jerry Shepard says damage to his property soared past $6,000.
Mainly our boathouse and our pier, completely wiped out. Of course, everybody down here, piers are gone. A couple houses down, the guy's boat sunk.
But many of his neighbors lost much more. Snapshots of their loss left on the curb.
Mind-blowing what water can do. I really feel for the people that live here, that's having to live in this and repair. Heartbreaking, really.
Even in a small community with a population of just 63 people, the massive destruction is evident as soon as you come into town, with debris lining the streets.
Unimaginable. We had so much water, all the neighbors, so many people have to recover from it.
Heather Bryan's home was one of the few high enough to escape the water, but she still received damage.
There's a water line in the car that it got, I want to say, at least 10, 12 inches in the car.
Even with house after house here under repair,
the kids would swim out there. We had big floaties.
Neighbors are holding on to their fond memories and remembering this tight-knit community is resilient.
This is about the third time we've had this occur. So we're used to it, but we don't like it. Now it's just a cleanup mode. We'll survive, Lord willing.
CarolynCerda, Channel 3 News.
Well, yeah, right now community members are still gathering here. If you take a look, they are still peacefully protesting for changes to end systemic racism. Now, just across town, earlier today, others gathered together to honor George Floyd, the man, of course, whose portrait is spray painted here on Graffiti Bridge, the man whose death sparked this movement.
Lord, in times like these, we still can lift you up and magnify your name.
Prayers, scriptures, and a moment of silence. Dozens came together Tuesday morning outside Friendship Missionary Baptist Church to remember George Floyd.
We recognize that George Floyd is each and every one of our sons and our daughters, and it could have been us.
Marilyn Evans regularly attends the church in Pensacola.
It just brings tears to my eyes to see all people of all races, creed, nationalities coming together to celebrate the life of George Floyd and of so many others that's been murdered by police brutality.
Tamar Crawford, Victor Steen, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor.
Local clergy, law enforcement, and Mayor Grover Robinson each stepping to the mic.
There's no doubt that we're suffering now, but through our suffering, we will eventually get to hope.
They not only shared their grief, but spoke about the ways they would hold themselves and their departments accountable to ensure another black life is not unjustly taken.
It is a problem. We recognize it. We're going to solve this problem with you. If we have an officer, we discover an officer that maybe is operating outside of our core values, that we will act promptly and we will act swiftly, and that we will discipline up to and including termination. We're not going to wait until we have something like a George Floyd murder.
A unified message.
We thank you, Lord, for bringing us together one more time.
This memorial.
Black lives matter, and it matters to us here in Pensacola and around the world.
That unity, of course, very clear here at Graffiti Bridge. As we've told you for the past nearly 2 weeks, hundreds coming out here to show their solidarity, to protest and honor George Floyd. Reporting live in Pensacola, I'm CarolynCerda. Now, the suspect, Patricia Heiler, lives with her husband and 4 adopted children inside this house on Chalette Circle here in Pace. Now, neighbors here told me they were unaware of what the sheriff called horrific abuse that allegedly happened inside this home.
It just blew my mind.
Neighbors shocked to learn a 47-year-old adoptive mother now facing 1 count of aggravated child abuse, accused of beating a 14-year-old boy.
She took adopted children out of a home where they weren't suitable, the people that they lived with, and they were just not in the right place, and she's going to put them back in a horrible place and scarring them, and it's just It's horrible. It's sad.
But as a father, it pisses me off.
Santa Rosa County Sheriff Bob Johnson detailed the disturbing claims against Tyler in a press conference Monday.
And she abused this child pretty severely. She did everything to include punching him, beating him with a dog chain, and going as far as chipping his teeth with pliers.
The arrest report also lays out the most recent incident. Hyler accused of using a knife to cut the boy on his head, calling him names and stepping on his neck. Investigators say the abuse intensified 2 years ago when Hyler took the kids out of school. While they say she targeted the 14-year-old boy, they believe all of her adopted children may have been abused.
But because of the egregious nature of this case, we are taking it very seriously, and we intend to vigorously prosecute the case.
So far, investigators do not believe Hyler's husband, who worked long hours, was involved in any of the abuse. For now, all 4 kids are in DCF custody.
I just hope that the children get a better life. They deserve someone who loves them.
Tonight, Patricia Hyler remains behind bars at the Santa Rosa County Jail on a $100,000 bond. Reporting in Pace, I'm CarolynCerda.
Before and after every meal, staff at the Canopy Assisted Living Facility in Pace disinfect the dining room tables with bleach and Lysol.
Cleanliness is everything here. They have made a priority in cleaning rooms, sinks, the whole bit.
Resident Jerry D. Rexford says that effort eases his concerns about the spread of coronavirus.
I don't think it's anything to panic over, but I do think it's time to take the precautions necessary.
Precautions he and the more than 50 other residents here are taking seriously. Using hand sanitizer and getting reminders from staff to wash their hands.
It's a severe threat what we have here. The Canopy is doing everything they can to keep it out.
Residents and visitors not only see signs like these with safety precautions on them inside of the building, but they get a warning before they walk through the front doors.
If we see anybody that we think is not feeling well coming to the door, we kind of have our concierge stop them. We've actually put a sign up that says, if you have been out of the country in the last 30 days, please see management before you go see the resident.
Executive Director Jennifer Melton says their heightened health measures are for good reason. Health experts admit assisted living facilities put the elderly at a greater risk for coronavirus.
Well, it is communal living, so we're interacting with each other on a regular basis.
In fact, many of those who've died in the U.S. are linked to an outbreak in Washington state at a nursing home. That's why, on Monday, the Canopy's conference call focused on all the ways to help stop the spread.
We are very particular about how we clean here. It's just taking that next little step.
In Pace, CarolynCerda, Channel 3 News.
Well, I have here the privacy policy for TikTok. It is 24 pages long, and it not only gets permission from you to access videos you may want to share, but also a lot more private information.
Social media apps are designed to collect information, and you pay for them with your privacy.
UWF cybersecurity expert Guy Garrett says TikTok is one of many social media apps that has a lengthy privacy policy.
They get access to your location, your device, your contacts, your browsing history. Why would you need that? But they get access to it, and they even give themselves permission to access keystrokes, patterns, and rhythms.
He says the language is so broad, each of TikTok's 2 billion downloads worldwide could be turning over access to passwords and other sensitive data.
You are giving them permission to collect that information. You're inviting a spy in your home.
With respect to TikTok,
Wednesday, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo suggested the U.S. ban Chinese social media apps such as TikTok.
We want to make sure that the Chinese Communist Party doesn't have a way to easily access that.
And from a government standpoint, when you're dealing with people who are dealing in classified or confidential information, then absolutely these apps are a humongous security risk. As far as being able to ban it from private use, that's a tough sell in the United States of America.
TikTok claims its data centers are located outside China and not subject to Chinese law. Still, Garrett says each user should know they've essentially signed a contract agreeing to every term in its policy.
You just need to be aware of the risks and make the best choice for you.
CarolynCerda, Channel 3 News.